Morning, everyone. I'm going to call the Marion Township Board of Supervisors Workshop meeting for Saturday, January 20th to order. The time is now 9:03 a.m. Our first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. The meetings are being recorded for video. If you have a cell phone on you, I ask that you please turn it to vibrate or silence it so that we don't disturb the flow of the meeting. Likewise, for anybody wishing, there are masks and hand sanitizer in front of the room, and anybody wishing to make a public comment, we ask that you sign in on the sheet in front as well as approach the podium when making your comment and clearly state your name and address for the record. At this time, I'll open up the floor for public comment.
Person signed in.
Seeing none.
Jim signed in.
Oh, sorry.
Happy New Year, y'all.
How are you?
Just a couple of quick questions.
That's for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jim Donadini, 198 Sweet Birch Lane.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, the two questions are. Rumor has it that the Conservation Corps has accepted the plans for what we call like will be on the central area of the development. But we have seen no paperwork from that. Have you?
I don't know that we have. I'd have to ask Chuck, the engineer, but the way that works is we may not see paperwork until much later.
Yeah.
Because if you recall back, that was something that they had submitted to us. We actually rejected, and they took over to the Berks Conservation District, who then subsequently approved it.
The bond approval didn't go through for that yet.
No.
As far as we know.
No.
It's only. Oh, I thought that was for the other issues. It's okay. Yeah, I don't think so.
The second question is like the first, and you won't probably have any because it's more recent than that. They were around to redo the pins for the property markings, and we'd like to see that also. The problem is that I thought lawyers had a kind of backroom understanding that they would talk to each other, but they're not even talking to a lawyer. That's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We'll ask Chuck about both things and see if he's gotten anything yet. We have. Yes.
Since there are just two of you, I presume there hasn't been a third yet.
Not yet, no. Jesse, I do want to talk to you today because I've been meaning to call you, but it's been very late and I didn't want to. Okay, so we only have Joe Boldos on the Zoom. There are no other virtual participants. So at this time, I'm going to make a reference to the fact that we held an executive session after the Board of Supervisors meeting on December 21st. This went from 8:20 to 9:25, and it was to discuss personnel and possible litigation. Items for discussion today are first the Olson Group. They were going to be here to present their proposal for the new building. However, they have requested they push it off a month due to some scheduling constraints on their part. We do have the proposed floor plan, and I have a couple of things I kind of nitpicked on that. Irene, I don't know if you had any thoughts, but I had a couple of things that jumped out at me. I like the patio. I feel we can combine the AV storage and the IT room. No,
And because the reason is because he needs the IT room where it's at. So he needs his own separate area with the amount of equipment that he needs.
okay,
So,
well, we can have
yeah,
that stuff together. That's
yeah.
my thing.
You're
Is
supposed to like have this one combined.
combine with that one. The other thing is, if we move this door
Yeah.
up, we don't need four bathrooms, because then you have access to it.
But I like that concept because the more to me, like I think it's a lot better. So what were you saying?
What I was saying is you could even use the space, but this is just one of the things that we seem to have high duplication because we're blocking it off. Okay,
When you walk in the main door.
Yeah.
Leave the bathroom.
yeah,
And then there, as you see, there's a door
Yeah.
down the hallway,
Yeah,
so that when
we have the meeting.
multi-purpose, like for an
Oh,
event,
okay,
they have access to a bathroom without going all the way to the other end of the building.
okay, that makes sense. The other thing was there's no history or alumni room space.
So what we had talked about the meetings is doing everything along the walls. Having.
In the
walls.
hallway, so
So
it's
you
a 8 foot or 10 foot hallway.
And we have these walls too.
Okay,
And we actually saw photographs from some municipality that has stuff in their meeting room.
okay. I mean, if it works, I'm okay with it, but that was the thing that just jumped out at me, it was like, we don't have space for this, space for this.
Display cases in the multi-purpose room.
Okay.
Then as you can see it all the time, it doesn't have to be, it's behind, it's locked up,
Yeah,
behind glass, nobody has to come in and open a room and.
Yeah. The other thing was, I'd really like to see if there was a way to have the meeting room and the multi-purpose room kind of mixed together next to each other, to use it as one big space.
Why?
Well, because if we do something like a town hall, we're gonna need every bit of space possible. Granted, that multi-purpose room is fairly large, but like if we stuck that on the end up there.
Still, I don't know, I think if we were to have a town hall, we still probably would have to utilize some of the schools,
So
you know.
he has shown 108 max seats with round tables.
So without the round tables, it would be a
Maybe a lot more.
space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can live with that, but that was really the
Yeah.
criticism that I had, is like, it's from a layout standpoint, if we juggled a couple of the little blocks around, it might fit in the same floor space. But if we're gonna be putting the stuff on the walls and in the multi-purpose room and stuff like that, that alleviates the dedicated space concern, and I see your point about if we had somebody renting out the multi-purpose area, we need the bathrooms on that side.
Mhm.
So,
And this way, the tax collector, the police have access to those 2 bathrooms right in the front door.
yeah,
And we limit traffic throughout. the
yeah,
rest
and
of
that
the
was
building.
one of the main things that we
Yeah.
talked about before. We want to make this
Yeah,
segmentable in the sense that you can control, okay. People are coming in here, or people are coming in here.
Mhm.
That way somebody could rent out
Yeah.
the multi-purpose room for like a wedding or a birthday
Yeah.
or something like that.
I guess I have a question for you ladies, how do you feel about only having one exit point from the office? So you have to essentially go through, do you want another door where there's a window?
Well, I don't know the door between the hallway and admin office.
The only way to get in the office right now is you have to go through the file room. Which is a little odd.
Yeah,
See, right came from the vestibule on the right, I have that little door.
No,
No.
no,
yeah, so to me, I'd want another exit point.
Why would you need a hallway, a window in the hallway?
Because what happened during COVID, this way, if we had a service window, if God forbid, there's another major disaster like that.
We don't have to close the building.
Yeah, people could still come in and do some
Well, we have
transactions. We don't want a door, well, I wouldn't want a door there, because again, it's an easy access point, I hate to say, that window hopefully will be bulletproof. Not that that's gonna just stop a determined person, but. If there was another door where you could, like, almost essentially like an emergency exit point, if
Yeah.
there was an intruder. and everything. Yeah,
we have
where-
originally kind of about having separate entrance.
Yeah.
For the secretary, so like if we maybe. Didn't do the 4 square with the table in the middle and did something where it's maybe like a row of desks or something, you could
No,
have.
we like the first one.
You like the 4 square?
Right, I would say on the side here where there's that. Let's see if we can make that into a
Maybe.
door.
Probably one of the squares is, it's not gonna be a desk, it's gonna be the copier,
Yeah,
maybe a closet for office supplies.
Probably right there would work out
yeah,
well.
so if
Yeah.
we had a door on the walkway there, then you could just basically bump that in.
Yeah,
This,
yep.
yeah,
We have it in,
That's what I'm
get
thinking.
a
This one.
door. In one of those spots.
yeah, personally, I'd be much more comfortable having you guys have multiple areas of. Exit in the case of an emergency, whether it's somebody who's an aggressor or fire
Yeah.
even. rather than- yeah, you-
Two, when we would exit the office into the file room, there's now a door that's gonna be locked in the hallway.
Right.
Nobody can go beyond that. And that door into the file room is gonna be locked.
Well, yeah, so like if you have somebody in the vestibule right now who's, or let's say there's a fire in the vestibule. The only way that you can get out is to go into the file room and into that vestibule. Or the hallway there, because it's not actually the vestibule. What we're saying is you need to have a second way
Yeah, I
out.
know.
Yeah. Because like, let's say you had somebody that was angry there and was, you know,
I got the thing.
trying to whack the glass, I was doing.
Where's our current building? Where's my-
That's the new building.
No, where's our current building? And then this becomes the one goes in so.
Yeah,
Yep, which works out.
yeah, I mean, that works for me.
Really
I think
nicely.
this is workable.
Yeah.
We moved the ball field over.
Yeah.
No, we just, in my opinion, just take the opportunity to redo the like tennis court, we move the basketball court over. Redo whatever we're doing,
Yeah.
multi-purpose, and just spin them so that you can fit more stuff in.
Yep, yeah,
Um,
have that park ADA accessible, have that
Yes.
park
Yep.
really functional, have it graded properly. And as you guys can see, there's like a lot of grant opportunities that keep on, you know, shuffling in, so we're gonna be really diligent about that.
So that's a question about the salt shed in the garage. Why can't we move that one piece back? Why do we need all that grass?
Yeah, I actually,
Yeah,
I marked that, like I put a square on there, and that was gonna be one of the questions that I asked, when we got to the aerial. Was if we could slide that back and maybe use that front space for something else. Because otherwise it's just wasted space back there.
He does have 5 bays, because he said in the filming there's only 3 bays.
so this is,
Have 5.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine, yeah. So I guess I'm not understanding this drawing, I printed up that copy, I understand this drawing, is it's just like a, like. Is that something part of-
So this is parking. A is the like office staff. Okay. That's like the area for like restrooms and like
Okay.
being able to get coffee and stuff like that when the guys are out plowing. The next 3 are 20 by 40 double road vehicle bays.
Okay,
C, the one on the end there, is a 20 by 40 small equipment storage and supplies. D is a 20 by 60 salt storage. E is a 20 by 60 stone storage. F is synthetic toppings. And then we get into G being the new building,
Gotcha,
and then the
okay.
120 parking
Okay.
spaces.
yeah, we have to make sure we have showers, guys.
Bays?
Yeah.
Yes, right, it's a property line, you can't get in from the other side.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think you need double wide bays.
Yeah,
No,
so we
all
would
down
have double
double.
bays, so you could, you know,
Oh, okay.
so you could pull through instead of having to back in. Cause John will tell you, most of your badness happens when people back in,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So that may need to be.
okay, so we're gonna look that. Okay. Anything?
So do you want to bring this up? Can you screen share this?
Yeah.
So they know, because, I mean, he was gonna do a presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second to get that pulled up.
Don't even think about looking at Google Drive, oh my gosh, I'll do that, yeah. Yeah, sometimes obviously doesn't make more sense. Yeah, no, that's like, I read stuff at one point, I read stuff, all these ordinances, and I started looking through it, I brought everything with me to work, that's this. All this stuff's right, I'm like. I have which one girl here, I don't have like all these other ones that make sense, so.
Okay, so this is the building that we were talking about. What we were saying is the office area only has one entrance. They would have to go through the file room and into the admin office. We would need to have a second door for obviously just safety reasons. And then we had discussed the requirement for the 2 bathrooms and if there was a way that we could combine the 2 AV storages. If it's not, there's not a big deal. Then we had talked about the combination of the 2 meeting rooms, but based on the size, not a big deal. Otherwise, I mean, I'm okay with this. That fits well for what we're trying to do, and I'll defer to like you and John on the multi-purpose room potentially being a good fit for like evacuation space so that we're eligible for grants there. The only thing I would say that we don't have is that we have a storage space for like if we had to take all of the tables out of the multi-purpose.
Well, that's why we've got the kind of tables that could easily fold up.
Well, I mean, when they're folded up, we have somewhere that we can put them.
No, not that I'm aware of, you know, I guess in the event if we need to, we could always put them in a garage, but. I think we're okay, I mean, push comes to shove, if we need to, I guess, put a shed on the property, I guess we could do that too, but. Do we wanna add some more additional storage area, like bump it out a little bit more?
Yeah, maybe, or
Yeah.
like John, with the AV storage, do you actually think you're gonna need the full 240 square feet?
Well, between those two rooms, like the, we're labeled the IT.
Yeah.
That is gonna be for like the servers and stuff like that, for you to get access to the radios. And eventually, when we have the amateur radio group that's part of EMA.
Yeah,
They'll have their radios and whatnot, and the other room is where any of the additional monitors and stuff like that. That can be hung out in the all-purpose room.
Yeah.
You don't want them out there all the time, but then we also don't. If there's people helping, we don't want them to have access to the IT, the separate
Yeah.
AV room, that AV room. The biggest thing we saw at the quarter is everything's on wheels. Everything is movable, and even in that big room, the size of one of those round tables. You can pretty much stack on their sides of those tables, like say at the top right corners.
Yeah.
All those tables and stuff basically stay right.
okay. Because I was just kind of spitballing here, if we shrunk this a slight bit and gave you a door into there so that you have to go into the EMC radio room to get to your stuff. We could just put like tables and chairs and stuff right off there, but.
Yeah.
Um,
The way things are now,
It's-
blacks,
yeah.
that much, yeah,
yeah, I mean, I like it.
yeah, me too.
Any space is more space.
Yeah, but if we're chasing grants and trying to build something, we should try and get the ideal solution.
What are you gonna do with stuff in the history that I love right from the development, it's great.
Well, we can, whoever wants it can claim it,
Well,
and then,
or
or we could donate to the local museums.
we could find, I'm
Yeah.
sure we can find spaces for it, like,
Yeah.
for example, we have their. Extra wide hallways, and they're putting display cases in, or in like the two offices at the bottom, like the one marked tax collector police. We could certainly put a larger, like a wall display case or something like that, and highlight that stuff in each one of the rooms. I'm sure we can find spaces for it, or in the case of, I think there's like a large. Like a press or something like that from somewhere.
I think.
Yeah.
I think we could easily fit most of the stuff that's on the walls. That's up there now along most of the walls of the new building. So that it's there for people to see all the time rather than special occasion. I mean, you know, if you think about it, you're taking what's along the walls, if you put it along these walls here, you filled up 2 out of the 3 walls. I mean,
Mhm.
I think it's pretty simple to do.
Yeah,
We maintain the monitors behind us, but, you know, there would be windows on one side, but again, like, if these walls were covered. You know, in proper storage cases, along with the hallway, the stuff, I think we're gonna do very nicely with it, it'd be nice to see a lot more of the stuff than what we do now. I guess at some point we have to reach out to, there's the Berks County Historical Society. We have to see, I forgot the other recommendations that we had when it comes to preservation and the word I'm looking for, cataloging
yeah,
of the materials that we have and seeing which things are truly.
There are duplicates of stuff up there, because. People clean out their parents' houses and bring stuff back here, I mean, I don't know how many fire company plates we have. That they go to the same year and everything, because they clean out their parents' house and say, here, I don't want this anymore here, in history.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of up there.
yeah, and that's something that, like, for storage, we pack it away, maybe. Put it off to the side in that like AV storage space or something like that, because I don't want to put it in the file room.
Mhm.
But we don't necessarily have to get rid of stuff, but we display the maximum amount of stuff and then. You know, figure out what we're doing with the rest.
He even suggested possibly selling some of the duplicates to make, why do we need to store duplicates?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but not so much duplicates, but if we have things that don't,
you know.
yeah, if we don't have things, or if we have things that don't fit on the walls. Rather than get rid of them, I'd hate to see us like. Pitch or sell or whatever, historical bits, but if they don't readily go out, or if it's a situation where we rotate things occasionally. We store them somewhere in a way that they're not going to degrade, but.
Sorry, I came in late, but I was squeezed roads out, but I don't know, I wasn't here when you started talking about this, but on which side are you putting this building now?
So here, let me share the next thing. So. The thought process here is, let me zoom in a little bit. Is. The building would go in the corner where the ball field currently is, ball field would get moved over to the opposite side. And then the playground would be over here, multi-purpose courts and stuff would be in this area. One of the things that we were talking about is if we need to have the architect change this a little bit, because these are supposed to be pull through phase and they're right on the property line, which you're not gonna be able to do. And that we have a large amount of unused space back that.
Oh, I thought it was gonna go on the other corner.
Where?
The corner of the-
I originally, what you guys were talking about, I thought it was going here.
Well, where's the salt shed and stuff going?
These are the studs and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
So roughly kind of where they are right now based on this. But
I don't like that either.
yeah, but it's, we can just move it over here.
It's the corner of water, rather
Yeah.
than, yeah. But that makes more sense to have it closer to
The
the,
salt sheds and stuff.
the building.
well,
Yeah.
that way when a worker, not just me, but a worker wants to come into the office, they don't have to walk.
Gotta get moved over. I
Yeah.
do want to use this opportunity of doing some rehab on the ball field. Because it needs it. This is the catalyst, Brian.
Well, the plan is, all this, we're redoing the entire.
Well, yeah,
Yeah. But the nice thing is that we could still clean in this building until the new building goes up. And then this gets tore down and then we get.
yeah,
So.
Yeah.
No, it just wondered,
Yeah,
no, it would make sense for the office to be.
right,
closer to the
Yeah.
salt sheds.
yeah, I don't know why they did it like that.
Yeah,
So you're
Okay.
saying
The building was a basketball court.
yes, and then we move the basketball. Like over here somewhere, but we're gonna need to get a revised student plan.
I read it was
Yeah.
done like that, so people when they're renting the space and using that. Or playing in the park or using the parking lot patio, the kids don't play on the equipment. So I didn't know if you guys were gonna mess with that whole area for, the salt sheds and the service space.
we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because then that would mediate that,
Yeah.
that's the only reason.
Yeah.
That side.
we may have to, and I think that's a good idea to make sure that all that stuff is properly.
If this equipment names and salt that are around a little bit.
Thank you, Myron.
You Put a yard waste there and then they rent it, you do that.
If we rotated this so that you
Yeah.
had these. This way, so that you could pull straight through, so you
Yeah.
had the salt sheds on this side, you would be able to have that, like
Yeah.
roadway, be able to have like yard waste and stuff
Yeah.
back there. So I think just with some simple tweaks, this would be. Better than needed.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, I'll have to sleep on it.
Yeah, so I'll ruminate on that, I'll give you guys some notes, but then I'll send a response on that email saying like, hey, we like it, but we want to see the following things change,
Mhm.
so.
You talked about, when he has a hip surgery coming up, but he said he could be at the February meeting. You talked about making like a model, how architects do.
3D
Yeah.
model.
3D model,
Yeah.
yeah, that thing, yeah.
Yeah, I would say basically what we would want him to do before he does any of that stuff is. Just like essentially either slide over the building or do like a mirror image, depending on which side we want the parking lot on. I'm kind of inclined to put the parking lot on the road side. Rather than having to come in and around. But we wanna
That
have,
makes it front entrance when we go to.
exactly.
Keep in mind though, the weather comes from the west, so you have to make sure the doors are not gonna blow open,
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
yeah,
Also, we're gonna plant trees, that there's gonna be landscape.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be just a stark field, but it's a very good point, we give up prevailing land requests.
We know how our doors are at our house.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Makes you feel good.
John, yes.
2 or 3 meetings ago, if I remember, one of the plans for the building was a very narrow hallway into the building. And we talked like doubling the width of it, which I think we did to have the display case for a lot of this stuff there also. So the front hallway, multi-purpose room. I think when we looked at it, it's more than twice the space that's upstairs right now. As far as what will be available to put stuff up. So we can't put double stuff up on it.
Yeah, I think the concern is there's some larger stuff, like I said, I think there's like a press or something like that, but I'm sure we could find a spot that's. Not gonna be in the middle of the road, like maybe if there's a corner next to a doorway or something like that we can have that nicely displayed.
Yep.
We can certainly figure that out, or if we have like a rear corner of that like multi-purpose room that has a little like nook. In it with some stuff.
Like a, like 45.
Yeah, that. I'm sure based on the amount of square footage that we have, and to your point, the wall space that we have, that's gonna be available for that, we can certainly do something very nice with it.
Yeah, we didn't want to really lose too much, so.
Okay, do we collectively have anything else to talk about with the building, or should we
No.
move on to the side?
It's cool.
Okay. Next item is the Act 537, the draft Act 537 special study, which was prepared by Joe Baldos and Kim DeRosa, Kim's here in the building, and Joe is on the Zoom. I read through it, I liked it.
I did too. I guess my question, so that's that's the presentation that's gonna be submitted to the DEP, is that correct?
Correct.
I read through the last page. I was like. I know with the material. Again, like, am I reading the right email? It's just the breakdown. You know how we talked about it, what the breakdown would be to the residents from the prior materials versus this.
Well, it didn't go into an immense amount of detail.
Yeah.
Which.
Yeah.
The lines that I focused in, I actually wrote notes. Is towards the end there, it says something to the effect of without substantial grant funding, like the tune of almost $8 million.
Okay, yeah.
This is not gonna be achievable because your average cost per household would be about 50,000.
Right.
Without that kind of funding, you're not gonna be able to do it. You need to have this down to the almost like 20,000
Right.
over a 20-year span to make this affordable.
And again, the question is from that other breakdown that you gave to us, in comparison to this, why the difference? Like,
I'm not gonna put
yeah,
words in your mouth, but I think
Yeah.
it's just simplification.
okay. But sometimes it makes sense, I don't know. I think, like, are they gonna understand this? It's not simple, are they gonna understand it, or are they gonna say no, or are they gonna say whatever? Yeah,
And I feel like, I'm not sure if
Yeah.
I was able to hear
Yeah.
that question very clearly, that's something that we would be able to answer a little bit better than I would. A lot of the cost differential there, he breaks it down in anticipated cost summary. and
yeah,
That's DEP's formula, that's my best knowledge,
okay.
but you're going to have to ask Joe specifically.
No, I'm okay, I mean, yeah, I read through, I just didn't go through every single appendix, I read
Yeah.
through the
Yeah.
write-up, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, I liked it. It's not War and Peace, and I think
Yeah,
for this
yeah.
thing, it shouldn't be War and Peace, otherwise the DEP is not gonna accept it.
Yeah.
Joe, you have anything that you'd like to add on to that, or?
Yeah, honestly, I was catching bits and pieces. I really couldn't hear Kimberly very well, but we do have a statement in there, I guess, on page 11.
Yeah.
Depending on the cost of construction, and that really basically is begging to the fact that, you know, this project's just not feasible without substantial grant money. Again, I'm not so sure how this is going to go with DEP, but it is what it is. I mean, certainly the township just can't come up with, you know, $10 million to throw at this project. So I think it's truthful, it's straightforward. You know, I'm anxious to get it over to DEP. I guess one thing I wanted to bring to the supervisor's attention is that this draft was shared with your solicitor. I'm not sure, I think it was 10 days ago. We did reach out to him early this week to ask if he could get any comments over to us. And as of this morning, I haven't seen anything from Kozloff Stout. So they they do know it's out there, and I'm hopeful to see something shortly from them. I would like to ask if, one of the supervisors can make a phone call to Colin just to make sure we try and fast forward this, because we are kind of falling behind the 8 ball with regard to the order.
So, knowing that this is doable, what I'd like to do is I'll make a motion to approve the Act 537 special study and authorize the advertisement in the Reading Eagle and any other applicable publications, subject to the input of the solicitor.
Second.
Roll call, Peter,
Aye.
Irene,
Aye.
Yeah, this way we can get that approved out of cycle, and you can get that over to DEP. Any deadlines.
Thank you again for both of your work on this. We really appreciate it.
Very much appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for allowing us to, participate in the whole thing. I guess once we can gain final approval, then we can go ahead and set up a township meeting to kind of go through the study. But other than that, I think it's ready to go, unless there's some other comments that I may not have heard from you all.
No.
So I think the next item on the agenda is the town hall. I would say February may be too soon, depending on what we have with the solicitor, and if we have to send something off to DEP in that 30-day advertisement window. We may want to start looking at dates in March, and then I would want to work with Joe, you and Kim on having a really good PowerPoint presentation to go through. I don't know if you were at the meeting when I mentioned this before, but I kind of like to go through it in kind of 3 stages, like past, present, and future. And really not so like to the nuts and bolts of like what happened in 1960 or whatever, but kind of give people an explanation of how we've arrived where we are today, what we're having to deal with today in terms of the administrative order and things, and then our plans to move forward, how we're addressing this, and how we as a board are planning on dealing if we don't get enough funding. So I want to make sure that that's very crisp, very precise, and very easy to understand. That way, 1, people that are there get it and understand it, and 2, that there's not a rumor mill situation where somebody says something to somebody else, somebody says something to somebody else, and then you have a whisper down the alley.
That's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, but
Because it's going on now.
I want to try to do as much as
Yeah.
we can. So
Yeah,
I think March is probably prudent based on the fact that like we're already most of the way through January, and then we have that 30-day window for the adoption and stuff like that.
and keep in mind that, if you wanted, I mean, you had motion before for the secretaries
Mhm.
to schedule a meeting at the Horizon West.
Yeah.
That it needs to be approved by the school board.
Yes.
And their meetings are around the 11th, I think.
Yeah, so we have to basically pick dates for March this month so that they can vote on February 8th. So let's circulate some dates. Let's find out what's good for you, because I think it's going to be very important to have Higher Terra there. It's going to be obviously very important to have the board there. It's going to be important to have Chuck and Colin there as well. So
we can send an email saying pick a date.
Pick a date.
yeah.
okay,
And we need to know by.
before the 11th. Yeah, so sooner rather than later. Okay, next is the emergency declaration. This was made for the flooding on Tuesday, January 9th at 5:30 p.m. I'll motion to approve the emergency declaration.
Second.
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Irene.
Aye.
Jim, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Jim. There's some kind of document, John, do you know what kind of document we have to sign to declare an emergency for flooding?
Well, for anything, one form.
Well, so we looked in the computer, we had one a few years ago for,
It was the FEMA stuff, wasn't it?
yes, but that was no thing.
Yeah, I think that was the snowstorm.
Like we never, so this flooding incident wasn't given a name, a storm name. So I'm not quite sure.
I have a whole stack. And I'll get you-
Okay, and I'll check with Colin too, but I'll have you guys sign. it.
Yeah, so if we can get
Very
one,
generic, whatever the deck. Whether it's flooding, wind event, tornado.
Okay.
You just go on the line.
Yeah, and then I'll just
If we make a digital copy of that, we can fill it out and print it out.
Yeah. Just check it just to.
Yeah,
I know I have it on a file, I can probably just email it to you.
that's even better. Thank you. Okay, next is the sewage management program. We made a motion at last month's meeting to approve the printing of the letter to residents. I did make the tweaks. I don't know if you got a chance to read them, because I sent them out within the past couple of days. Before you got here, I did read out my changes to secretaries and Kim. Generally well received. So the last thing is just make sure I don't have any like grammatical errors or I didn't miss a word or something like that. But it's less than one page. It's very precise and concise in the fact that it gets the information across, but it's still in a friendly manner. It's not very mechanical. So hopefully people actually read it, because it's short little paragraph with chunks of things that people can read, and it's not just a wall of text. So once that is okay by everybody, it's already approved for distribution. You just have to get it mailed out though.
So then we'll also send you both the email and emails for the newsletter.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, I'll dig through that too, and I arrange it the same, and make sure that's good to go. Ideally, we'll stick them in the same envelope.
One page.
Yes.
Back of the letter.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Perfect.
And so if I want to add, like, our code 8 or something.
Yeah.
If we have room. we
Yeah,
can-
and so send us what you have, and we'll see if we can't squeeze it in. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to figure something.
Okay.
Okay, the next item is the resignation of Supervisor Brooks. This should have been accepted on the 12th, I think technically, because it's exactly 45 days from its last day. So I'll make a motion to, with regret, accept the resignation of Supervisor Jim Brooks.
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Irene.
Okay, starting now, we have until the 11th of February to appoint a new supervisor. So I think the first meeting date that we have after that is the 14th.
Seventeen.
17th, okay,
The workshop is 24.
workshop is 24th.
Yeah, that's. Good today.
Um. I probably-
So until the end of the meeting, talk to Jesse and go from there.
Okay, so we'll come back to that portion of it. Next item is to remove Jim Brooks from the Fulton credit card and signature accounts. I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second,
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Irene.
so when these minutes are done, please let me know. I have to bring a copy of the phone bank.
I'm gonna take a draft.
Needs to be the official copy, if not a copy.
We're gonna skip number 8 for a second, and we're gonna go to number 9, which is again, with great regret, to accept the resignation of our part-time assistant secretary, Melissa Benjamin. This is effective January 13th. Make a motion to accept that.
Second,
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Irene.
you went back to school. So,
Yeah, it's not for a bad thing, it's just important, we don't have
Yeah.
to listen. Okay, next item is the Stone Group request for reduction of bond. This is number 1010202. The request is a release in full of the amount of $98,961.61. Based on Chuck's observations, he recommends releasing the funds. But let me quick look and see.
for street work that was done, and I don't recall it being about Lake Wobegon at all. I could be misspoken.
I'm gonna scroll through the packet
Yeah.
and find what Chuck's letter says specifically. Yeah, as it says, the circular.
Evil.
Visions,
Here?
problems.
It's not like There's gonna be something, you know, the 40 something tonight. Sounds pretty. You good? For now.
I forgot to ask, did they ever fix the joint compound?
Yeah.
Okay,
It would be there.
that's fair. Yeah,
Yeah. I did order filters for the furnaces.
Okay.
They need to be changed every other month during the heating season. And I have on the schedule to have them come out. You know,
You just walk past it.
Okay.
I don't know.
no, because this is the
here, do you want my copy?
this is the property management ordinance.
It's his letter is right under the.
I don't see her. Right here. But here's the streets.
Okay, yeah, so this is the current remaining bond was retained pending the 2 handicap accessible ramps and the completion of pavement 1.5 IED at Waring Course on certain streets within the private development. This is a copy of the previously updated earthwork bond estimate dated January 13th, 2020. On-site observation is made by SCP.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's not anything that like will be done.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is purely the bond amount for the handicapping and the street repair. Looks like it's specifically on Steve Birch. Okay. Yeah, that being what that is, I think you're legally
Yeah.
obligated to believe.
Thank you.
Since we're not having a meeting on Thursday night because of quorum, we are gonna need a motion on that today. So I'll make a motion to approve the bond release $98,961.61 for the Stone Group based on Chuck's observations.
Second.
Roll call Peter,
Aye.
Irene,
Aye.
Next item is the CWP-LB, which is on 37 Main Street. This was a request to release the escrow money. Engineer Hess has yet to inspect, recommend any sort of release.
So that's what, okay. Then I responded to your email, because he just keeps on emailing us and not realizing the process that he needs to go through.
well, yes,
Yeah.
I guess he gave us a written request releasing,
Yeah.
asking for release of that money, but then Chuck has to do this much. It's interesting that he says however much money, usually they're pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what my response was, that's the specific sum, so, and then I take that over to Bolton Bank, or I could just send it via email, so.
Okay, next is 4050 Conrad Weiser Parkway. This was regarding the safety and fire hazards along with a possible administrative search warrant. I hadn't seen anything since we talked to Larry at the last meeting.
Jeff Hope stopped in yesterday, or was it yesterday, no, the day before. And so, what he wants is, he wants input from John as well as the, chief of the fire department to see what other safety concerns that they have for that. Because a big problem also is, God forbid there's a fire there or other some type of event that warrants the fire company to come in. Is the building itself safe for them to access it?
Yeah.
As far as staircases and stuff like that, because you could, the last time we were there, you
The
could see.
staircases are
The staircases
indication
are
that
not,
was built.
it's the actual building, so aside from the individual apartments is the exterior, and in the event we need to send in the any kind of public safety person, that they're gonna have a problem with it too. So he asked me to speak to John as well as speak to the fire chief, to see what their concerns are as far as that they could document in order to fully support an administrative search warrant, so. You know, and Jeff said he's written lots of these in the past, so he doesn't think it'll be a problem, but we want to have all our ducks lined up in a row.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll look to John or Jeff or somebody to keep us updated between now and the next meeting, but I think we certainly have good grounds for that.
Yeah.
Okay, next is the proposed short-term rental ordinance. Attorney McFarland would like the board to review some of the discretionary and legislative open-ended questions presented by the ordinance. For example, enforcing the entire property maintenance code with specific sections when inspecting, or specific sections when inspecting these units.
So if you could just refresh my brain, because I keep on, I might be pulling up the wrong emails, and I will go to Google Drive and pull up today. Did he specifically carve out a different ordinance for us, or agree to use one the other townships that's already in place?
The samples
Yeah.
that he gave us were from a couple other townships.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there's a lot. Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I
And
apologize, I mixed that up.
That's how,
Yeah,
this is
that's the short term.
Okay. So this is what I keep on getting myself messed up about, okay.
Yeah. so
Okay,
that one specifically, the question that he had at the last meeting, was said. Go with the whole thing, was he was like, do you want only the IPNC sections for certain things?
no,
And I was like, no, if we can't hold that standard to people that are just regular homeowners.
right,
In my mind, if you're renting this out for profit, you should be held to that. Yeah,
yeah,
so obviously the ones that we want them to focus most heavily on are safety related. Do you have
Yeah.
smoke detectors? Do you have a fire extinguisher where you need to have a fire extinguisher? Do you have GFCIs, bathroom, kitchen, stuff like that? But we also don't want to lose sight of like, yeah, you've got a burnt out pickup truck on the front lawn or something.
Mhm.
So we want to make sure that they're making the short-term rental a safe place for people to actually be. Likewise, the long-term rental is kind of the same thing. It's kind of the extension of the short-term rental for things that are more geared like hotels, motels, etc.
okay,
Whereas the short-term rental is more of the, I would say, short-term rental would be like Airbnbs and certain types of motels and hotels, what Colin said. And then the long-term rental would be like if you're gonna rent out an apartment for a year, or you're staying at the tuck me in for like months at a time. The two of those things cover both halves of the rental situation that you could have.
mhm.
Um,
I'll just make a photo of that if I can, when we're done. Yeah, and I just have this deluge of all these ordinances and all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm getting myself confused. And then there was one that I had started to initiate, and then I'm like, but wait a minute, there's a difference between the two. Yeah, I think I started the long term, so I'll have to, I'll just go through it, and Kraft just gave us examples, they didn't have a full.
yeah,
So they gave us, so for the long term, they gave us a copy
there's
of
either two or three in there.
Yeah.
Richland Borough.
That's, okay,
And Lower Hyderabad.
okay,
So Lower Hyderabad Township had locality.
okay, so, okay, so then I'm gonna work on this, okay,
Like Destin locality.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that is fine.
yeah.
Either way, they
Yeah.
have.
Okay, so I'll continue to work on that then,
Yeah.
and I'll review the short term one. Cause I'm like, why am I getting myself so confused unless I have the opportunity to read through some of the material?
And it's because of
Yeah.
the areas.
Yeah,
So,
alright, thank you.
since we just talked about the long-term rental inspection ordinance, we're gonna glance past that one. The next is the culverts and related site improvements. This was Marion Drive North, Sheridan Road, Marion Drive South, along with some paving and guide rail improvements on Redford Road. Everything is completed. We made a motion at last month's meeting to accept change order number 2 and to execute payment. We are just waiting on the final application for payment from CMS. So, gonna hold tight on that until they ask for the rest of the month. Road projects for 2024. We are actively reviewing this. We are taking suggestions from the road crew about areas of high importance for 2024. Right now, the suggestions are Sheridan Road south from William Penn Boulevard to Lebanon County, Sheridan Road north from William Penn Boulevard to School Road, along with some work on Stoutsburg Road. We have put the ask out to Chuck to get the preliminary design, I guess would be the right word, together on that, so that we can put that out for bid, under the assumption that it is going to be a high enough amount that it is going to be past the bid threshold. We've not gotten that back yet, but the goal here is to get that from him well before spring rolls around, that way we can get it out and tended. Likewise, Dave, Butch, if there's spots that you see that need certain types of attention, it doesn't have to necessarily be a full cutout or an FDR or anything like that. If you say, hey, we have a stretch of road that needs crack sealing, let's add that into the mix too. There might be some lower cost ways to get structural life on some roads, but Sheridan Road and things like that you guys had identified are basically, we have to rip it out and repave, or Chuck had said there's an alternative to doing an FDR, but it needs some very, very intensive care.
I'm gonna have that for you this Thursday, but you're not having me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as long as you emails it, we can look at it. and you can-
Next, and you can see it.
Yeah.
We would have had it this month.
Yeah, okay. Okay, next is the extension of the stormwater pipe along Marion Drive to Main Street. We are, oh, did I skip guidance?
Yes, I'm 17.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So, guidance, engineer has suggested that we prioritize William Penn Boulevard. That was the original suggestion back in 2023. We also need to put some guide rail on Hickory Road and Ballinger Road. We need to look at how all three of them in the same year might affect bidding thresholds for things, or if it's a situation where we want to do William Boulevard this year and focus on Hickory and Ballinger in 2025.
If you scroll through your items, he
Yeah.
did in that email. He, at the third page, he did give us a guesstimate.
Okay,
I didn't see that.
yeah, I didn't see the guess. I saw that he had the three things in there, but
So it's an email and then a page of 2 pictures and then another picture at the bottom of that picture. It's the guesstimate. Yes.
Feel like we should be drum roll.
no pressure. Okay, so there's that.
I almost wiped out. I thought I'm over the side.
Okay, so like the guide rail property.
Infield house. Yeah.
Costs would be around 35,000 with 38,500.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
Contingency.
We could use liquid
And we
fuels.
can use like a field for it. Okay, so yeah, we just have to put that out to bid because it's over the bid threshold. That's well within the liquid fuels funding for that improvement. So. Yeah. I mean, I'll make a motion to authorize Chuck to get that prepared and put out and vended.
Second.
Roll call, Peter,
I
Irene,
it's a good hearing. Okay, we're gonna take a.
No, I'm going next.
What's gonna wait for it? Okay, so the next item is the extension of the stormwater pipe along Marion Drive and Main Street. We are still coordinating with UGI on this project, and it is anticipated to commence sometime in the spring. But that's just subject to UGI working on the gas line component of it. The next two items around Ballinger Road, we are going to skip because possible litigation involved in that matter. And then the next item after that is Wintersville Road, and Butch, you actually have your name put on this one where it says to ask Butch. So if you would approach the podium and tell us a little bit about Wintersville Road.
You mean, the culvert, I mean,
it's breaking away.
yeah,
What do you mean?
and loose snow or form, there's a pipe underneath the road there. And the water's going underneath the road and above the pipe, the road's gonna fall down one day. And when, if we wanna ever, before we do something to that road, like a macadamit or
And we need to fix
partnership,
that.
but that has to be fixed up before.
And that's a simple pipe. It's not like it's the size of like a box culvert. Okay, so that
No,
one,
it's a big pipe.
but it's
It's about this high.
yeah,
It's about this high.
but it's a single pipe, right?
Yes, a single pipe. But I would be a good candidate for the box culvert.
Box culverts are fairly expensive though, so I'm gonna ask Chuck take a look at it and give us a suggestion on what would be a good fit for that. We can still do a single pipe, because a lot of the concerns that we have on Canal Road is they're too wide for a single pipe.
Pipe is feasible.
Yeah.
Too. But like I'm saying, that would be a good candidate for, if we can't do a pipe, if they turn a pipe down, that would be a good candidate for. Box culvert.
Okay, the other thing, and I'll call Chuck this upcoming week on it, is if we have any prepared road projects that we can put in for volume gravel roads, because I think that's due in like March or April.
They changed in
They changed it, okay, well, either way, I'm gonna see if we have anything that we can submit, and the off chance that we get some grant funding for. So,
I think one of the things that. Or running down the road out there instead of down the side of the road.
do you think it's like a grading issue, or do we have a drainage like
It even be graded, it would last a lot longer, yeah. And it would just have to be graded. At the top end, where notes would go in their. Barnyard there, I'd say. And then the water would basically run down the road, to the side of the road instead of on the road. But it's too far gone. Already, we can't build in under the.
yeah,
the
it's
top.
gotta be fixed before we slap our stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Butch. Irene, do you want me to recap anything, or
Just the very first part.
pipe under the road is degrading?
Okay.
It's a single pipe. I'm gonna ask Chuck to take a look at it and see if it's a pipe replacement or if it's box culvert situation.
Mhm.
And we'll look at the grading on the road to see if that's something that can be regraded to better direct water off the road.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Butch.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the equipment repair. The mounting bracket that the shoes attaches to on the plow broke. The road crew fixed at the Burger Career in Richland in anticipation of the upcoming storm that we have. We need to look at prices for a new plow potentially, because the plow we have is getting kind of beat up. The little truck driver's side floor is rusting. We're gonna need to deal with that after the snow season. We got a quote from the John Wenzel Body Shop for $881.92. I think this just falls under routine maintenance, so I'll make a motion to approve the road crew to get the driver's side floor fixed. Up to $1,000.
Second.
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Irene,
Aye.
Question.
Yes.
can you?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, you can't hear it unless you're.
Must we get 3 quotes for that, or can we?
No, it's low enough that you could, but if. I always ask that you try to get 2 or 3, just so that we have a comparison, but that's why I motioned to up to $1,000. That way, if there is a little bit of overage on that, once they get it open, that you're still covered.
Okay,
On this issue of the trucks now, our vehicles are aging. I'm not suggesting by any means that we purchase a new vehicle, but I think it's time we start looking at.
We put in for an LSA grant, potentially good to do.
Yes, and actually Sue reminded me of a situation when another township or borough had applied for a recycling grant to have an area dedicated for refuse, et cetera, because they were able to get a vehicle for that.
So there is a grant
Yeah.
available that it's a deep. Grant that you can get recycling. Equipment,
Mhm.
truck being one of them, you have to in some way use it for recycling.
Yeah.
Big these residents.
Yeah, I mean, we could use it for moving yard refuse around or making mulch and delivering mulch. So, I mean, let's ponder that, but that might be a good
You know,
outlet.
some boroughs and townships do have a vacuum.
Come up to the microphone.
Yeah.
Vacuum.
Yeah.
And then that's how they.
Yeah. John, come up to the microphone.
To the point,
Say, when he does the debris removal stuff,
yeah,
when he goes picks up branches and stuff like that, like,
yeah, So I think we can logically write up a narrative to that, or if there's like you said, like a
But
lead vacuum.
you have to have a plan,
Yes.
like any grant.
Yes.
You have to tell them what you're gonna use it for.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Instead of saying, well,
so
Yeah.
let's
now the other
look for
thing
that.
Mine is, once you start participating in that grant, you can't just.
Yeah,
stop
stop.
participating. You have
Understood.
to keep participating, you're
Understood.
gonna spread out your expenses.
Yeah. So,
I'm gonna
yeah,
get busy with.
Well,
Who can we contact about this right now?
what you not have, if you have
So
such a
if she
grant,
doesn't do grant writing, then she could help, she could guide us in the right direction.
yeah, or maybe Kim has
She
experience.
meets at the county solid waste authority. And that means she knows all about that, because she only deals with recycling.
if you have such a grant. What's you spend all the money that you get?
Yeah,
Each year, or can it? It's one time.
tell them what you're gonna spend the money on and how much it's gonna cost you.
Yeah, so if we say we want to set up a recycling program and it's gonna cost us X number of dollars, because we need to get a bunch of concrete blocks, we need to get a truck, and we need to get this and that and the other thing. If they approve it, that's what they give us the money for.
Yeah, but I'm saying, to buy equipment, then once you spend all that money each year,
No,
or,
it's a one-time thing,
okay.
unless you submit multiple things every year, it's a,
Well,
you
you're
ask for.
supposed to, you're not supposed to just submit one time.
Well, what I'm saying is, with the truck,
Mhm.
you only put the truck in for 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my-
Yeah, so you could ask for more stuff the following year.
Yes.
But you're not gonna ask for a truck every single year.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
So I think we really need to consider that even outside of the opportunity of a possible grant funding. It just all of our stuff is aging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we treat them as well as we can, we take good care of them, but you're right, they are getting older and it's a very. Difficult thing on vehicles to be out in the snow and salt, stuff like that, that the wear and tear is much higher on that kind of vehicle than just like a road car.
Mhm.
So,
You know, it's like yesterday, I was out plowing. And I couldn't turn my plow the opposite way. So I ran up to Owl Creek to the garage. But here it was just a wire on the solenoid. It moved it a little and it worked again. But it was the wire, the solenoid's underneath the bed.
yeah, now there's a lot of, like I said, the salt, there's the vibration of the fact that you're scraping something on the road. It's just very, very heavy duty, very intensive work for a vehicle like that, so. We gotta do to keep the ones that have it in service for as long as we can, but if we have grant opportunities, something that would be usable, then we absolutely should chase them as soon as possible.
And just for your information, I've had several calls in the past couple of years, asking where they can put their grass clippings, or their tree branches, or their Christmas trees, or that kind of thing, so.
Yeah, we
It's all for,
I think we had talked about that briefly when like Peter Wallace was on board. I'm okay with the idea. I like the idea, and we have the space behind the garage we can certainly use for something
well,
like
it
that.
was, from what Heidelberg told me, like you can apply for, you can put on your plan that you want cameras.
Yeah,
They give you, it's a card instead of a key.
Mhm. yeah. It's you.
You know, the fencing around
Yeah.
the thing, you can apply for all that stuff, so.
Yeah, yeah,
We have to, because it would have to be a secured area, so people don't dump their.
yeah, we don't have people
Yeah.
open like couches and things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say let's start the wheels turning and then maybe talk to Chuck. About putting something together like an aerial sort of thing to say, like, this is where we want to do it, this is the kind of things we want on it. That way we actually go into this sort of a proper plan, not a cocktail napkin of like this.
And then moving forward, even at our new build site, we can include that there too.
Exactly.
So current and future anticipated use of these funds.
Next is the purchase of some anti-skid. We received quotes from New Enterprise Selling Line for $16.25 per ton delivered. Pensy Supply for $21.64 per ton delivered. And Roar's Quarry for $28.50 per ton delivered. How many tons do we need, Butch or Dave?
The quotes were for 100 tons,
Ton?
they already ordered 10
Okay, like,
from the lowest one.
okay, so do we just need to approve the 200 ton or?
What?
We already ordered 200, we just need to approve
No, you got 2 loads,
two what?
they estimate 25 ton each truck,
Okay, so 50 tons.
but the quotes are for 100.
100, okay.
They have to put some of them.
Yeah, so do we,
Sure, we can get more.
So we
Yeah.
can get 2 more with that.
We could probably get more.
yeah. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the purchase from, I'm assuming we got that from New Enterprise. The purchase of up to 100 tons of anti-skid at the cost of $16.25 per ton delivered.
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Irene.
Aye.
Next is the CoStar Salt contract renewal. The enrollment deadline for this is March 15th, 2024. We have taken 100% of our 150
That
tons.
is correct.
That is incorrect.
I was thinking, last year we did not take all of our salt and usually they would say we have a few again. And I checked my records and documentation. We got 2 loads here.
Was that?
We ordered 2 loads, we didn't get them yet.
Yeah.
That's the first of our 150 tons
Okay.
this season.
So, okay, so we have roughly another, like,
So we have 100 ton left.
okay,
Well, we can take up to 140% of that.
yeah. Okay. I would say we can roll again for the 150 ton, that's worked very well in the past 3
Yeah.
years. So, I'll make a motion to enroll in the CoStar Salt contracts for 2024 to 2025 at the rate of 150.
Second.
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Irene.
Aye. It's just a rain this week, it's such a mess.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a couple of really mild winters in a row that we were
Yeah.
overdue for sort of thing. Next item on the agenda is the trash and recycling contract. This expires on March 1st, 2024. Last month's meeting, we authorized this to prepare a request for proposal concerning waste, recycling, and bulk items, among other related services, and then subsequently advertise. I haven't seen anything across the desk
So
yet.
we- One of the clarifying was, I don't know off the top of my head, which I don't know, it's a good thing. So our current contract does not include commercial properties, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that's what I told them.
Yeah, that's my understanding is if you're a commercial property, you have to go through them to get a dumpster.
Mhm.
That you don't go through the township, it's not through the
Right,
normal.
I was thinking of that truck, like they do their own recycling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's a different
yeah,
company and then.
yeah, it's not applicable for commercial.
Okay, it's I told
Yeah.
them.
Isn't it on the website anyway?
I don't, know if it's on the website.
It's in Google Drive, forgive me.
Yeah, I think he does.
Yeah. Yeah, because I pulled up that contract multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's residential.
Next is the Western Birch Joint Zoning Ordinance, that's specifically pertaining to section 403, the amendment of keeping pets and small domesticated farm animals. We're still waiting on a joint zoning date. They didn't have any in November or December, it doesn't look like they had any, or they have any in January, so. We'll, I guess, maybe send them another email, start of the year and see if there's something they can get on the agenda for February. Yeah, January pretty much gone at this point. Next item is the zoning hearings. We had a zoning hearing for 85 Main Street. Twilight Acres would like to add one to the old social hall
So we
building.
didn't have it yet.
You didn't have it? Okay, had to be, okay.
Yeah, just Chuck
This is gonna be.
wants me to put them on the agenda, so. So we don't have a date yet, so I'm in February.
Okay.
It's okay.
Next is the emergency management coordinators report. John, do you have anything that you want to report?
Oh, boy.
Loaded question, I know.
Yeah.
What?
Said my name, but
Yes.
Gillespie EMC. Just in the last month of we've got several flooded roads, one without emergency declaration. So lots of cones, signs, stuff like that were placed out. still people don't listen to them, and police are in conversations with the chief and some other officers. They are drastically gonna start enforcing the road closures when they see somebody out. Cause I had a couple of guys in Jeeps try to get through on Canal Road, and they had to do the turnaround and the drive a shame past me. Used about a case of flares up on 419, one lane was flooded. I'm gonna try to get those replaced by PennDOT. On January 3rd, we had a big meeting at our house. Marion Fire, one was working down Mount Etna, Keystone Hook and Ladder out of Myerstown, Neptune out of Richland. A few other departments weren't there, they weren't able to make the dates. But we're working on a 2024 and 25 training schedule. Getting a lot of the stuff done that has to be done. Hazmat, some driver training. A lot with the firefighter and tanker operations, firefighting and tanker operations. And then again, I want to ramp up the trench rescue stuff here with the sewer project. And I have the paperwork for you guys for the canopy that you guys authorized right for last year. I just want to get you guys to reauthorize it.
Once it's motion, it's motion.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's New Year, I'm not taking a chance.
Oh, no, approvals are
Doesn't.
good. You're good.
And I'm leaving tomorrow. I'll be down at the National Emergency Training Center in Emmitsburg for the week for class.
You take that through some, hey, if Marion has an emergency.
Yeah, if I get a call or something like that, there's 2 or 3 that I call. So
Okay,
between Justin Schlotman,
okay,
Bert Westner, he's out of Bergsburg. He's a career guy over in Lebanon, but he's the new EMC for Tulpahawken, and we've, to say the least, been having lots and lots of conversations. Then Justin Schlotman, he covers like 5 different townships, so I'm pretty good there. So, yeah, it's easy. And I'll show you guys the black.
that, I know, so what's not feeling okay, that was very short. He didn't eat breakfast yet, I don't think.
Hopefully I go back.
Uh,
Do that now.
Next item on the agenda is the 2024 fleet schedule for professional services. We received this from Systems Design Engineering, crafting this group, Ozlov Stout, and Keith Mooney from Barway Snyder. I'll make a motion to approve the 2024 fee schedules as submitted for professional services.
So the resolution, sorry, the resolution is number 2024-2.
Okay, through resolution 2024-2.
Second.
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Irene.
Bye. Noise in the background.
Next item is the removal of trees on Marion Township property. Is this the stuff along the side there, or which trees are we talking about?
Salt shed.
Back behind the salt shed?
Yeah,
And was this the ones that the property owner had offered to remove them on our behalf?
yeah.
Okay.
He wants to remove 3 trees and plant some, I think he said red maples on his property, but close to the line.
Yeah, are the ones that are back there not in great shape?
Well, the ones at the milling pile,
Yeah.
and that one the storm did blow that one partly
Okay.
Okay,
apart already, and the other 2 are rotten. Hey,
okay.
It's mild concern, but my only concern is if there's a liability aspect of having somebody remove trees.
Right now, we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they've offered to do it, they've offered to, I guess, essentially, they'd be paying somebody to do it, correct? Or
I don't know if they're gonna do it or if they're, I believe they're gonna do it, but I'm not sure.
No, if it's our property, it's our
we have
responsibility.
to-
If they're rotting in half out of the ground, then we need to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we need to do it, but just add the people to the road crew for.
Yeah.
So they're covered.
You can change.
Yeah,
Well, he offered to do it, so, and I said, he offered me to do it, and
Yeah.
well, I'm not gonna do it,
it's a very nice offer, but the concern is if he's on our property, cuts down a tree and hurts himself. That's a insurance thing.
well, it's Wilder's garage.
Yeah. No, doesn't matter who it is, if they're not township personnel, it creates a whole whole issue. So I'd say let's look at it, let's obviously figure out which trees are in question here, but especially if they're starting to be in for health or partially blown over, let's get them cut down, and then we can stack them up and give away firewood or something.
Well, I think they're big wood.
Oh, okay, I mean, that's fine too, gets it off the property, so let's you and I talk once the weather turns, Butch. And we'll see if you, me, and maybe Dave or something like that can roll in with a couple of chainsaws and take care of it.
Yeah, talk to John, he'll probably help you.
Yeah,
Okay.
forgot about John for a second. Sure, John wouldn't pass it up.
Let's use chainsaw.
Yeah. Next is the Mervyn and Mabel Weiler letter of credit. This is number D005159 for the Weiler's Garage. This has been auto increased from 49,631.96 to 54,595.16. No actions needed on that. Next is the Systems Design SEO alternate. The recommendation has been made to appoint Shannon Petrillo as the alternate SEO for SDE. I'll make a motion to make that appointment.
Second.
Roll call, Peter,
Aye.
Irene,
Bye.
Okay, next item is the Berks County UCC Board of Appeals membership. This is a $300 annual membership fee. We would need a motion to execute this form and pay it. So I'll make a motion to join the UCC Board of Appeals for $300. That would execute the special.
Second.
Peter,
Aye.
Irene,
Bye.
Next item on the agenda is to appoint the delegate to Berks County Tax Collection Executive Committee. This is the governing body that oversees Berks the Berks Earned Income Tax Bureau. All municipalities within the boundaries of Conrad Weiser School District must collectively appoint one primary delegate and one alternate delegate. The resolution that we have for that is 2024-3. This is a majority rule situation where Wilmsdorf Borough, Robertson Borough also passed a resolution to appoint Keegan Worley as primary and Elizabeth Miller as the alternative.
I didn't call around to see who appointed who, but
We
I didn't
usually,
hear anything different either.
we usually make the same appointment.
Everybody else's needs before us, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the, not everybody.
Like I said, we usually just
Go with the
go
flow.
for the rubber stamp it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to pass resolution 2024-3 to appoint Keegan Worley as the primary and Elizabeth Miller as the alternate.
Second.
Roll call, Peter,
Aye.
Irene,
Bye.
Next item on the agenda is to adopt a national incident management system. This is resolution 2024-4. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
roll call, Peter,
Aye.
Irene,
Bye.
Okay. And then the last item on the agenda before supervisors' comments is the real property tax certification for Gregory Odom. This is 165 Sweet Birch Lane. We received approval from the PA Department of Veteran Affairs to do so. So I'll make a motion to approve the real property tax certification for Gregory Odom.
Second.
roll call, Peter, Irene,
Bye.
Only comment I have is to make an announcement about the prohibition of fireworks and alcohol in the park. I think anybody here necessarily has that problem, but we need to make sure that people are aware that you're not allowed to drink or settle fireworks in the park. That might be a situation where we need to put some expanded signage. I know there is one thing at the front that says no alcohol is permitted. But especially as we start to do renovations there, that might be something where we want to put more frequent signage.
someone did it New Year's Eve and the complaint I got was they were drinking and
Yeah, and that,
a lot of noise and.
aside from the local law aspect of that, I know there is a Pennsylvania state law about not drinking while setting off fireworks.
I think our sons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I guess also, once we move forward with construction and everything, we put up, please curb your dogs signs and dogs must be leash signs, so. Yeah, down the road.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do some advanced signage, but I think we
Yeah.
can, especially with like the road stuff, we've been getting better with that over the past few years. There's always room for improvement, but. Baby steps might be to just put up another sign somewhere that says like no alcohol permitted, fire alarms, or fireworks. On active property, and then when we redo everything, we just make sure we have more of those. Otherwise, the last item that I have is the police report. Looks like it was a relatively routine month. The only thing that's really worth mentioning is there were 15 traffic stops. Or excuse me, 14 traffic stops and 15 citations issued. So they had a busy month of stopping cars and issuing tickets. Otherwise, really not much of note on the police report. Irene, do you have any comments?
I just want to say welcome and thank you to Lisa and Val for sticking it out so far with us, and I look forward to working with you and whatever I could do to make it a more pleasant experience, let me know. Because now we're coming into audit season and there's a lot of information we have to go through and I need your help desperately, so thank you. Thank you, we're here.
Yeah. You have any comments? Okay, fantastic. I'll make a motion.
You don't want to adjourn because you.
Oh, right, yes. So, Jesse, if you want to pull a chair up, anybody that wants to stay, you're welcome to, but we're going to be doing kind of an interview for one of the potential supervisors. Otherwise, the meeting is pretty much over.
You're told.
Oh, yeah, you never go.
Put me on the spot, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
To it, we can't, Peter can meet with you privately, but we can't meet together.
Unless we're meeting.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what has given you the interest to get involved and be on the board of supervisors.
Wait, did you want to have a conversation with Paul, or did you want to have it here?
Yeah, this is very awkward.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd go in the hallway and talk to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know you guys just sitting.
I've spoken to everyone
Let's,
individually.
yeah, I'll pause. Okay, I would prepare to do it as is. But
Yeah. This is awkward.
pick a rock.
It's good, okay, it's- it was-
16.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so the general question is, this term is just for up to 2025?
They have to run in the next election.
So that would be 2025.
Hold on,
Yeah.
so I thought the way that works is they are in Jim's spot.
No, they have to, if you read Colin's email.
Yeah.
They must run in the next election, and then that fulfills the rest of Jim's term.
But Irene's the one that's up next for election.
No,
No,
yeah, you do understand what he's saying? So regardless of Jim's term would have been 5 more years, like year plus.
Yeah.
So because of the absence, it automatically kicks it into a new election cycle because of the absence. They don't just fill Jim's shoes, it's because of his resignation.
so then their term would be for 4 years.
Yeah.
It'd still go every 2 years, a
Yeah.
new supervisor's coming in,
Yeah.
or a new
Yeah, but
term is
if
over.
Irene's election is the year after that. Like the position.
It
that
would
Irene's in.
still fulfill Jim's term.
Yeah,
If they win the election.
Yeah.
But according to Colin's email, they must run in the next election.
okay.
It's only telling you.
Yeah. I'm just trying to make heads or tails of it. I thought when Peter Wallace resigned. I thought the
His
first,
term. His term would have been up the next year.
okay, maybe that's what I'm getting confused about.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we would have an election, or a spot on the next year's election for the interim. And then we would have the year following the normal supervisor election. Okay,
yeah, because my term expires January
This
2026.
was started.
yeah, mine just started
2 years is done.
2026.
26, Jim would be up 2028.
Yeah.
Next election or next municipal election where there would be that type of election.
So if you're appointed next spring, you would have to run.
In 2025, the next municipal election.
Yes,
Yeah.
Same.
so you would have to get on the ballot in the spring and then run in the spring to get them out.
Yes.
So then there would be 2 spots then,
Yes.
because my term ends in 2026.
Yes.
So I'd be running 2025 for.
2026, yeah, so I apologize, I'm just, yeah, yeah. So,
Because we clarified that.
Yeah, yeah. so I thought it was after remaining. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought
Yeah.
too. It just happened with me, the way it was.
I figured.
Yeah, so doesn't that throw up like your staggering of your.
No, because then
He would
we
do
fulfill it
remaining.
for. However many years that is till Jim's term will really be up.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it would just be a situation where he
Is
would
it 4
be,
years or 5?
or 6 years, or no, 6 year total, 4 years after that point of the
Yeah.
election, would be 4 years.
got it.
Complicated.
I know.
So yeah, I will call Jesse and let him know, because that was one of the questions that he had.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
unfortunately mistaken on the sense that
Yeah.
you fulfilled out the rest of it, but it's kind of half right. When you get elected, then you fill out the rest of the.
gotcha. And if they choose not to run for an
Then you
election,
have a spot. open.
yeah, it would be open for 4 years. Okay.
So,
Makes sense.
I guess because you have until 11:30.
Correct.
So, we had the 3 candidates, we had Anthony Edsel, Kyle Hefner, and Jesse Hafer.
Mhm.
Having now talked to all 3 of them, you talked to all 3 of them too. All 3 of them are very, very, very good candidates. Everybody that I had the pleasure of talking to is very level-headed,
Mhm.
very cool, very calm, very collected, which I think is what's needed on a board position like this. As well as each and every one of them had a very good background on things like project management or business management or having worked in finance sector or state. So we have a very, very, very good skill set even amongst the 3 candidates. All of them, because I interviewed based on a couple of hot button items, roads, the Act 537, the building. All 3 had very similar opinions around necessitating certain things. And then kind of the same sort of safeguarding for safety,
Mhm.
life and limb, but as well as financial safety of the people within the community. So we have a very, I'll say, level playing field across the 3 candidates. Before we start going in and say, nitpicking each one, is there anything that you want to?
I guess it was just, I guess this is just for the record, we had received a lot of emails with regards to one particular resident, and I need everyone to understand. I don't serve one particular community, I don't serve my roads, I don't serve just the village, I don't serve just Stonebrook, I serve all the constituents of Marion Township.
Right.
And I found that a little bit disturbing, when we received a lot of emails about one particular candidate. Because if you're an elected official, you have to look out for everyone, it's not just, trust me, most of this is me in regards to my own personal interest. I'm trying to do the best job that I can with respect to the funding that's available and making decisions that we know have long-term impacts on everyone that lives in this community, myself included. Because I do plan on living here for quite a long time. And so I guess everyone needs to understand that when you're in this position, you are in the position to serve Marion Township. And I think that's all I want to say on that note.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly
Yeah.
agree. Conversation with each and every one of them was very good. For example, Anthony, the gentleman from Stonecroft, has a lot of very good experience with project management stuff, which ironically, Kyle and Jesse to a certain point also have. But that's what he does all day, or had done all day, every day prior to getting into retirement. And we have at least on 2 of the candidates prior municipal experience, which is certainly applicable, not necessarily a requisite, but beneficial here. And I think it just really comes down to more than anything else, I think kind of personal temperament. So what were your thoughts?
I'm really torn between Kyle and Jess, to be honest. You know, I thought both of them have very good attributes. It just, I'm really having a hard time deciding between 2. Yeah.
Honestly speaking, that's Anthony was a very good with the interview too, but if I were to have to pick one today.
Mhm.
I'm in kind of a toss up between two gentlemen that I just got a chance to talk to. They both, not saying Anthony doesn't, but they both have very vested interest in the community and making the community a better place. I certainly think that Jesse is very much, I'm not saying that Kyle isn't necessarily, but Jesse's view on this is very altruistic. He very much just wants to come in and make things better.
Yeah, I forgot to ask him if he had any interest in running for office after that.
Well, he asked me about that.
Yeah.
He did express the interest. I was told that he would want to run again, that he wants to do this for a long term. He wants to be involved, try to make things further reaching in a positive way. So.
Yeah, and even as I said to the ladies before, with Jim would have an adversarial position to us, and I welcome that, and because it made us take a step back and say, okay, what is it that we're doing? And sometimes we did table some concepts, and we came back to it, and we came back with more different information. And I don't necessarily want them to rubber stamp things. That's not how this works. We want to give the opinions because I think in some ways that reflects a lot of the different opinions within the community. So, you know, I'm all for that, even if they don't agree with me, as long as they're civil.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah, right,
kind of
yeah.
the conversation I had with each person, is we don't want a board of bobbleheads. We don't want yes to everything, we want a diversity. Because there's gonna be things that maybe I consider that you don't, and vice versa. At the end of the day, you don't know what you don't know. So we need to have enough differing mindset and enough differing experience to be able to bring up like, okay, where are we gonna put the tables?
Yeah,
You know, that sort of thing, even on the little stuff.
yeah.
So you wanna make sure that we have well-rounded board to be able to act anything proper. So.
We've seen what decisions can do.
So.
We've seen what decisions can do.
Yep.
We're sitting in it,
Yeah.
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 Now, may I ask as a procedural question, if we can't decide, does it leave it up to Kelly to be the tiebreaker in this instance, or is that something that we couldn't decide at all?
I'd have to check with Colin with it. I believe Kelly's role is to be the tiebreaker.
That is correct.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I'm honestly, I'm very torn.
Oh, no.
I had a much longer conversation with Jesse, and I think Jesse's. Kyle too, but Jesse has a very good mindset. He's already sort of in the right track of thinking.
Yeah.
And I'll use the sewer as a prime example.
Yeah.
He's very pro sewer, but he even said that this is a thing where it's a necessity, but it has to be affordable. Yes, it's needed. There's people on Main Street where if their system fails, they have to put in a holding tank, which is pretty expensive, but.
And either candidate can run, so
Yeah.
if we don't choose someone today, and then he can run for the upcoming election.
That's a
Yeah.
very good valid point.
Yeah.
It's not, we have to unfortunately pick one
Yeah.
person, but if it's a situation where you're not picked. You certainly are welcome and really honest, kind of encouraged to run based on the fact that you are going to have to run. So. I mean.
I don't do heads or tails.
Yeah, it's a very difficult
Yeah.
prospect, honestly, and again, this is not a detriment to any of the other candidates, especially.
No. It was fun.
I go with Jesse if I had to like, gun to my head, make a decision.
All right, I'm good.
You're good with Jesse?
Yeah, you flip the coin.
Okay,
Yeah,
I will make a motion to appoint. Let me make sure I'm not mispronouncing his name, Jesse Hafer. As the interim supervisor for the Marion Township Board of Supervisors.
second.
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Irene.
And Kyle, it does
Yeah.
not, it's no offense against you.
I felt very similar
Do you mind coming up here?
I felt similar comments about the sewer project, so it wasn't
Yes.
in contrast, anything
Yeah.
Peter said that about Jesse, it was
Yeah.
very much the same, so again, resident. I want to be a lifelong resident here with my wife and children, so again, not anything in contrast to what Peter said about other candidates, just want to clarify.
So yeah, and that it's, you guys were very, very similar, so what I would like to, I think, what Irene is gonna say is. If you have the interest of being involved, please come to meetings, run for office, be
Yeah.
involved, we certainly.
Yeah,
Welcome and appreciate your opinion, especially if there is a situation like you and I have just talked about where. If there's something that you can think of to help get the word out about, hey, we're looking at chasing grants for a new building, or hey, we're doing this town hall.
and just.
We will
Yeah.
never turn away
Yeah.
any bit of help, especially one that is as, honestly, by the skin of your teeth on this one.
Yeah,
That you're certainly qualified for a lot of the things. And your input is very much appreciated.
Yeah.
Even if you're not sitting on this side of the table.
Yeah.
Quick
Yeah.
question.
Yes.
Dennis, it seems as though you were gonna make a decision today on this, and good thing Jesse was here.
Yeah,
And you interviewed him, what, was there going to be a decision regardless of the interview?
I would have had to have called you and tried to
So
interview.
the decision not have been made today, you know.
Correct. Correct,
It's less included in the agenda.
Yeah.
right,
Appointment of superintendent.
correct.
Yeah, so we would have had to make a decision on this before running the risk of being technically out of compliance because our next meeting is more than 30 days from.
Okay.
So,
Because
This-
we have left for
Yeah,
Thursday.
Thursday, otherwise, the way this would have happened was we would have accepted the resignation on Thursday night for Jim. And then appointed the next supervisor at the following board of supervisors meeting, and that would have given me 30 days to talk to you guys.
Right, and point aside, the
Yeah.
recommendation that you guys voted on.
Yeah.
Would have still been made today,
Yes, we would have.
regardless of the interview with me.
Yes, I would have had to have called you, and if you answered, I would have interviewed you over the phone rather than that, because we are obligated to appoint within 30 days of accepting.
That seems like something you might would have. Notified the candidates about ahead of time,
Yeah,
and I did not receive any kind of notification.
No one did,
yeah,
we didn't call anyone about it,
I'm-
yeah.
yeah, so
Just clarify.
the meeting change was relatively last minute, found out I had to work on Thursday. Otherwise, like I said, I met with Anthony, but I didn't get a good opportunity to call you or to call the other gentleman. Over the course of the past 20 some odd days. So. With that said, because of the last minute pivot of a working schedule, we had to do something today. And I believe that was Thursday in the morning or Wednesday night that you texted that you had to work.
Scheduled.
So-
Just understand, if I cannot call for you today.
Yeah.
Still would have been a recommendation.
You would have
based on-
had to, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Regardless of the interview.
regardless of an interview. So if it was a situation where we both had interviewed Anthony. And only Irene had interviewed you and Jesse and I hadn't got a chance to, if I called both of you and neither of you answered. We would have had discussion based solely on that. It would have been our mutual opinions of Anthony along with
I
Irene.
serve the town, not discuss.
It's-
This is just a short term thing,
Yeah,
okay,
and
I can tell you, yeah.
Serving the town.
Right, or I can tell you at any point in time, if Peter chooses to resign, he can resign, if I choose to resign, I can resign. So there's decisions that needs to be made. And you bring a different personality to the table every time you do that. But regardless of my opinion or Peter's opinion, there's a job to be fulfilled. So is there some personal bias in who we'd like to work with? Possibly. Are we trying to choose a candidate that is going to come to the table and give us their best effort? Yes. Is it based on anything in particular? I don't think so, because I've spoken to you before, I've spoken to Jesse before. But at the same time is, if this is definitely interest to you, then please run for election. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we, if that's what you want, this is,
yeah,
it's here,
the window of
Yeah.
appointment shifted.
yeah,
Again, I get all that.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm just trying to understand some transparency around the process leading up to this.
yeah,
Yeah.
It seems as though there was already some decision made prior to this meeting. Or
No.
So.
Not
Based
at all.
on. Or if there was no decision made prior to this, it seems as though there was poor planning on the supervisor's part in terms of the process. And I don't think it's sort of.
Jim sent us a letter of resignation, I had no idea about it, Peter had no idea about it, none of us knew about it. The fact that next Thursday's meeting has to be canceled is my apologies, but I don't get my work schedule until the 20th of each month. I glanced at my schedule, said, oh my gosh, I have to work this Thursday, because I'm sorry, I'm not the kind of person that necessarily plans well ahead. I don't think anyone complained for this type of thing. You never know when a letter of resignation pop up. I could come to the next meeting and say, I resign, and we're done, and we're in the same exact situation, so if you find fault with us, I can say nothing more than I apologize. But if you want to sit in this chair and do it, then move forward and go ahead and run for election, and I encourage it. I'm not so sure I will be running for re-election because my family needs are starting to outweigh what I can provide to the community, and I don't feel I can be as dedicated. Having said that, if you're interested in, I need someone who's gonna be very dedicated on taking the treasurer's responsibilities, which will probably involve you being in this office from anywhere from 5 to 10 hours a week. I need to let the next person know that, because what was done previously was hands are down, you walk out the door, you don't come back. Every single prior supervisor said to me, if you need my help, you can give me a call, you can talk to me. And you know what? Not a single one of them can do the tasks that I'm doing because those tasks were never done. And so we're trying to set things in motion so that basically you fill the seat. These are the tasks that need to be done, like any other job that you have. These are the requirements that are required of you sitting in that supervisor's chair. Not making it what you want it to be, it's making it what the things that need to be done, just like the vehicles need to be maintenance, the roads need to be plowed, the bills need to be paid. That's the understanding that I have sitting in this chair right here, right now. So I'm telling you, if you're interested in running and you want to fulfill the role, down the road, I will not be here, I will not be treasurer, and those are a lot of tasks that need to get done. If you let the ball drop on that, guess what? You're legally obligated and bound by the requirements that are in the Pennsylvania second class township code. And if you don't comply with those, and we've already had this discussion with council as well as outside accounting, then you can be liable, you can be sued civilly and fined heavily for not complying with that. So down the road, you need to understand that this little mishap with us not being prepared for this incident, no one could prepare for this because you never know when it's gonna come. But there are things that you can prepare for. Again, I welcome you. If you want to run for office, please do so. If you think you could sit in this chair and do a better job, then please come and do that. There's so many things that happen on a daily basis within this office that isn't discussed at public meetings that are so stressful. And this is why I'm here almost every single meeting, thanking the ladies that run this office on a daily basis, because I get the phone calls, I get the text messages. I'm the one that comes in all the time and try to manage what I can. If you think you could do better, please run for office.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
much like I said earlier, apologies for the confusion around the date shifting, but you certainly are suited for it. You have the right skill set, you have the right mindset for it. So especially if Irene is not intending to run potentially the next, there's going to technically be 2 open positions. There's going to be the one that is going to be refilled based on the appointment, and then there's going to be another open. So certainly, please, I'd love to have you up on board too, alongside me and conceivably Jesse at that point, helping to drive the initiatives to make the township a better place.
Right, and unlike previous relationships or terms or supervisors, I would often stay on as treasurer for a short amount of time so that the next person can get trained up. I'm telling you, it's 5 to 10 hours a week at a minimum of that stuff that I do all the time.
It's not just paying.
It's not just paying bills, there's reports, there's audits, there's letters that need to be sent, there's filing. There's so much responsibility in that alone that I just get aggravated and aggravated. All right, I need to,
Clear,
yeah,
you can hire a treasurer.
that's
We,
true, that's true.
it may come.
Another thing.
Yeah.
2 supervisors, because I filled a vacancy.
Yeah.
We don't have to go through all this hullabaloo. You're really overthinking this. Royce Hartman and I picked Matt Barnhart based on his qualifications. So you're making a whole big deal out of this. You can run against Irene. They didn't pick you. You're qualified. You might find a tunnel, right? That's I understand my experience. I heard good things about you. So I'm just saying, I'm just trying to put a name in his face. You're really over talking.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
I appreciate, I don't want people to. Right, right, I don't want people to feelings to get hurt, because it's not personal, and not at all. Yeah.
Personally.
Okay, well, with that said, I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Time is now 11:39.
Thank you.
Second.
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Irene.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.